wisdom from the elderly with the energies of the youth, tapping into the insights of academia and decision makers in order to improve policies that affect Uganda's future. That is why we are here, ladies and gentlemen. NTV Uganda shall be producing and broadcasting the G4G TV series across the country to the population that is not in here. And over the years, we've had such partnerships with both the private and public sector, with the last such partnership being the last third annual economic summit that was held with the Minister of Finance, and again from the same room where we are today. Therefore, we always support causes that are developmental and in the interest of our country. With our mission being to deliver an exciting and enriching TV experience and positively impact and transform society through information, knowledge and entertainment, we are confident that the knowledge shared here today will go a long way in strengthening the existing policies that aim to achieve socio-economic transformation in Uganda. Generations should always dialogue and coexist peacefully if we are to transform our country. The young people must listen to the older people and learn from them, and vice versa. If we go that way, then our country will prosper faster than we all desire. With those few remarks, I invite my co-host, Mr. Alain Sibenela, country representative of UNFPA, to give his remarks. I thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I deliberately chose to speak from the heart and not from the speech. Honorable Minister, State Minister for Youth, dear friend and partner, the MD from NTV, dear panelists, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. It is extremely heartening to see all of you here, and I'm very happy that we're having, before the end of the year, the first Generation for Generation dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you 2 weeks ago have witnessed how one young lady with the name of Queen Abenaiko has managed to make headlines globally, putting Uganda in the spot because she was living her dream. The G4G is one component of UNFPA's Live Your Dream social change movement. And Quinn, like her predecessor, Leah, who is with us today, Kagasa, had one dream, and that is that all girls in their age and younger than them stay in school and prevent becoming pregnant. Hence, our other components of the campaign are Let Girls Be Girls, Books Before Babies, With Youth, and G4G, Generation for Generation. My partner and colleague, Johnson, the MD from NTV, has said it all. In order to make social dialogue successful, we need to tap into all generations, and that's what we're here for today. And UNFPA is uniquely positioned to bring evidence, and what better evidence than to hear the concerns from those who live it every day, whether they are elderly, whether they are in my age, the middle age, or whether they are much, much younger. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming, and I hereby give the floor back to our MC. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause to him. At this point in time, let me welcome Honorable Florence Nachiwala Chinji, the Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, to give us her opening remarks. Welcome. A round of applause, please.
I'm privileged and humbled to be here this morning, and I wish to say good morning to you all. Good morning to you all. Thank you. The UNFPA representative here, the General Manager NTV, the representatives from the Diplomatic Corps, the ministries, departments and agencies that are here, the workers of NTV, and you, the young people. I'm particularly impressed to be here this morning and to witness the G4G, the first of its kind episode in Uganda. And this brings on board a new era of eliminating violence amongst the young people, because certainly violence breeds violence. So all we used to see on the media and NTV was the broadcast of a lot of violence in the country, where the innocent majority were not given that much of a chance to come and exchange their views. So this is a honor for us all, even the people seeing us and those that will yet come on board later, to know that this is a new era of coming together diplomatically to exchange views, to share ideas, and to mentor and copy one another. I also wish to commend the work of NTV, and I wish you people would give them an applause. Yes, I'm here today for this Generation for Generation dialogue. And I would like to thank the partners, and particularly the partnership between UNFPA and NTV Uganda, for providing us with an opportunity to talk about the young people's issues in innovation, honesty, and refreshing way that is here. As the Minister in charge of the youth in the country, I welcome this initiative, and that brings together the energy, creative ideas, and validity of the young people at the same table, with experience, wisdom, and guidance from elders and other distinguished members of society. When I was in Ghana recently, people were asking me, and they thought the youth were useless. Then I told them, but no, they are used less. So that means that the more you use them, the more you realize that they are the drivers of change. So today we are using them more instead of rendering them useless. This matrix of skill, experience, and knowledge is an important way to generate ideas on how best we can invest in our youthful population together. The world over, we see that issues of the young people have gained a lot of currency, and this is no different in Uganda. In a country where almost 8 in 10 people are young people below the age of 30, we acknowledge that they represent one of the greatest untapped potential in the country, and also following the Vision 2040. None of our ambitious goals is highlighted in the National Development Plan and can be achieved without the meaningful participation of the young people. They are not just our future, they are our present, and we must ensure that they prioritize their needs while learning from their ideas and experiences. As a government, we are determined to make good on our pledge to have no one left behind as we achieve our sustainable goals. We are therefore doing everything possible that we can ensure that we put the young people at the center of all the decisions that we make. Certainly they believe that nothing is for them without them. So without preempting the keynote and panel discussion, I'm glad to note that today's discussion will focus on the specific ideas of education and employment, youth participation, as well as entrepreneurship and innovation. These are critical to Uganda's socio-economic transformation. For Uganda to attain its development goals, its labor force must be well educated and have high quality skills. Education enables individuals to make informed decisions, and that is really what is the problem, especially when we come to the elections and ensuring that people can ably decide without being influenced. The government is therefore prioritizing increased enrollment, retention, and completion of all school cycle with a specific focus on girls' education. In addition, efforts are being made to redesign the curriculum to ensure convergence between the skills acquired in school and those acquired at the job market. A key ingredient for Uganda's socio-economic transformation is job creation. However, we are still experiencing high levels of youth unemployment, with the youth consisting 65% of the unemployed. This varies, however. In the urban and peri-urban, it's a little lower than the far-to-reach areas. To address, it's the other way around, actually. In Karamoja and beyond, the northern Uganda and Teso, it's about 19% compared to Kampala district, which is as high as 49.50. A key ingredient for Uganda's socio-economic transformation is job creation. However, we are still experiencing high levels of youth unemployment, with the youth constituting 65% of the unemployed. To address these issues of unemployment and employability, the government is promoting private sector investment and skilling of the young people to make Uganda's labor force internationally competitive, among other interventions. In addition, government is taking steps to strengthen private-public partnership, including, but not limited to, creating a conducive environment for young people to innovatively engage in entrepreneurship. Ladies and gentlemen, addressing the needs of young people is a priority for the government and all of us as partners, because young people, especially adolescent girls, still face a wide range of obstacles, including inadequate access to quality education and health care, school dropout, to mention but a few. As a result, one in 4 teenage girls is pregnant or has had a child, and this comes with several consequences. Being pregnant is a very tough experience at a teenage. Here, her body will not only get ready to go through the trauma of childbearing, chances are that she will get complications during childbirth, including obstetric fistula and unsafe, or even death, unsafe delivery, or even death. In fact, a girl between the age of 15 to 19 is twice as likely to die during pregnancy or childbirth compared to a woman who is in her 20s. We also have a big problem of HIV/AIDS, and these days we have cause to worry, because the rates of infection are higher among the young people in any other group of age. The 2016 Uganda Population HIV/AIDS Impact Survey shows that HIV prevalence among those aged between 15 and 19 years is at 1.1%. 3.3% among those aged 20 to 24, and 6.3% among those aged 25 to 29 years, including the new infections that remain an issue among young people. So I encourage everybody here to test, and when you test, you take the drugs, and when you take the drugs, we expect that your viral load comes down. That is 90-90-90 policy. Young people also face severe life-threatening challenges, such as sexual violence, female genital mutilation, and child marriage. Investing in young people and enabling them to exercise their rights not only benefit young people themselves, but also help the country reap a demographic dividend. A demographic dividend is a window of opportunity for acceleration of economic growth that might result from a change in the population age structure, where there are more people in the labor force and fewer dependents. To date, almost every young person has 2 others to look after. To achieve the demographic dividend, it is important to prioritize investments in health, education, governance, and economic empowerment. I believe that the Generation for Generation initiative can build on government efforts by providing expertise and evidence needed to scale up the programming for young people. I therefore request that as you discuss today, do so in a simple language that connects with a broad audience and their day-to-day realities, so that we gather a wide range of contributions from within this room and online. I also request that you come up with specific ideas, solutions, and policy recommendations that we can integrate in our planning, reviews, and other processes. I look forward to having more opportunities to be part of this great gathering, and that this effort, if steered well, I pledge to play my part to take up the issues raised here and ensure that the government recommendations will be followed up and implemented. I thank you, and I look forward to a peaceful dialogue today. I thank you for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Honorable Florence Machinji, Minister of State for Youth and Children's Affairs here in the country. I want to remind you that we are live on NTV, and the hashtag is G4GUG. G4GUG. We are young people. I told you earlier on to show me the hands of them that are actually under 30, and they're the majority in this room. So let's chuck our mobile phones. We've been told to use youthful language, so let's chuck our mobile phones and start making the hashtag viral. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Joseph Muavala. He is from the National Planning Authority, and he'll be giving us his keynote speech. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That is better. They said we are youth, isn't it? So we have more energy than anybody else. Let me take this opportunity first to apologize that I did not know the protocols that were going to be present today. So in my keynote address, I did not address protocols, because I would have messed myself up. And with all protocols, please excuse me. Then secondly, let me thank NTV and UNFPA for first letting me live my dream. Yes, I'm living my dream. And you may take it for granted, but I am living my dream. That could have ended my keynote speech, because today we are living our dream. Why am I living my dream? By show of hands, the youth here, how many of you attended nursery school? Nursery school. I never attended nursery school, but I've been selected to give the keynote address. Isn't that living your dream? So, ladies and gentlemen, I was asked to speak about harnessing the transformative power of Uganda's youthful population for sustainable. My degrees are from Makerere University. I don't have a degree from outside this country. But I have still been selected to speak to people who have better university degrees. So what is going to be my thesis as I discuss? And I've been asked to use simpler language, but I know that the youth know better than we do. My thesis is that the quality of the country's population is key in propelling both domestic and foreign investment. Okay? Hence, the youthful population is an opportunity. However, opportunities come and go. Therefore, that opportunity of the youthful population must be harnessed and invested in if we are to achieve what we call the demographic dividend. That is my thesis. The minister has given us all the facts about youth. And I'm just going to explore the issue of investment in an opportunity. How many of us invest in stocks or in companies here? when you invest, you are paid, isn't it? The compensation for investment is the dividend, isn't it? So this word dividend that people are using all through is a product of investment. So, we the youth, 76% of this population have to be invested in. Okay. And what is the theory behind what I'm going to say? Because many of you forget that even the way you stand and walk, there is a theory behind it. So some people tell you that theoretical subjects are not good. They're as good as any other subject. Because you need to understand where you come from for you to understand where you're going. So what is our theory that we're going to use today? That one, that there is a link between population and sustainable development. There is a link between population and sustainable development. The youth are the majority, isn't it? And it is this population that is working on our environment and working within a context and sometimes destroying or building. And that countries, all countries in the world, drive the development processes by exploiting those natural resources in whose context we live. The third that you need to look at, that labor is the convener of all factors of production. I hope you didn't choose the wrong person, an economist, to speak to you. That labor is the convener of all factors of production. If we were having a debate, we would say that labor is the most important. You remember those P7 debates? Mother is better than father. We can say labor is the most important factor of production. And that takes me back to my investment angle. That we must invest in human capital. Where human is capital. And where the youth are the majority. The other point that I want to make to you, that the population also is the producer and the market. So you have arguments like, let us have more people who will have a market. My argument is different. The quality of the market matters. So the quality of the youth, who are the majority in this country, matters. So if we are 76%, can you imagine Uganda without the youth? Will there be a market? Will there be production? Will there be politics? That's also a good one. And the last that I want to bring to you, that economic growth takes place at the pace at which technology progresses. And you know, when you talk about technology, you're talking about knowledge. Technology is knowledge. So what am I saying? That we have to link. Now, you can link whatever I have said in the theory to my thesis. That if we don't give knowledge to the majority of our population, we don't have technology progress. And those who are theoretical enough, you can go and read Roma and others, 1986. It will help you. If we don't invest in the youth, who are the majority of our population, we don't have innovation, we don't have invention, we don't have economic growth. And now let me turn around something which people always misunderstand in the topic, sustainable development. What is sustainable? For you to be sustainable, you must increase your economic assets while maintaining the social and environmental assets. What a difficult job that is. As we do all the roads we are doing in this country, we put up all the buildings we are putting up in this country, we do all the investment, we must maintain the environmental and social assets. And remember, I come from Busoga. So when they talk about Queen, I'm living my dream. We have also been told that we are 76% of the population and we are below 30. But we should also understand that for our population to grow at the rate at which it has been growing, we must thank the investments in primary health care. Because for some of us who grew up during our time, our parents used to produce more such that a few can survive. Now it has turned around. As we produce more, all of them are surviving. So as we bash government, we are too many. We must thank government for investing such that we are surviving. Now that survival is an opportunity. But that opportunity will not become an opportunity unless we invest in that opportunity. So as a country, we must seize this opportunity. And we should note that the youth hold the key to transformation. And you know why you hold the key to transformation? Your generation, unlike mine, is more informed. Our time when we used to do exams, there were no calculators. You dared not touch a calculator. You will be disqualified. And Dr. his was even worse. You dare not touch a calculator. We had books, mathematical books, with all these logs and all that kind of things. You are more informed. You have the internet. Google has become a word. You don't know it? Google it. That never used to happen during our time. So your transformational power is better than ours. And as I speak to you, as I talk about investing in you, you also have a responsibility. How many are mathematicians here? Everybody. There is an equal sign. What you do on this side, we invest in you, you have to be more. What we do this side, you must do this side. As government invests in you, as your parents invest in you, you must live responsibly and make the right choices in a very treacherous world, worse than the one we lived in. So, given your innovativeness and creative power, there is no better change agent than the youth. If you asked me to write an economic model of change, the youth, for me, would be a constant which explains the entire model. And that's a very dangerous situation. When you have a model and the constant explains it, you don't waste time to model. Just proceed and do inference from the constant. For this country to develop, the inference must come from you, the youth. But also remember that some of us have been youth before. So we have the experience of being a youth. I didn't just get gray hair. Those who saw me when I was young, I was rocking, my God. But here I am with gray hair. So to fulfill your potential, we must, as a government, provide you with a conducive political and economic environment that, one, creates jobs, but also enables you to create your own jobs. If you think stability comes cheap, you can try to go to Somalia and enjoy yourself. It doesn't come cheap. If you think it is not important, you can go to Yemen and see how stability is fundamental. So when government gives you stability, it is also government's responsibility to create jobs. It is our responsibility, us in government now. And for those who are seeing the statistics, we define Uganda as a jobless growth economy. Those words, we are growing but not creating enough jobs. And that is a problem. For every 1% growth, we are supposed to be creating 10,000 jobs. Uganda is only creating 450. There's something that is not happening that we need to look at as planners of this country, so that we can create for you enough opportunities for you to fulfill your potential. We should enhance your productivity and provide adequate safety nets. It's not enough to increase your productivity when a lot of you are becoming pregnant before age, when a lot of you are dropping out of school, when a big number of you cannot read and write, when those who got technical education have no competence. What they have is knowledge, but they have no competence. And as I wind up this presentation, I'll tell you what we have to do together to make this. So, and these safety nets must be through investing in the quality of education and health, including behavior, attitudinal, and mindset change. You dare not live a lifestyle that we have lived, some of us. I grew up in a society where the Reverend Father would come with a Fiat Mirafiori, Fiat, those cars. And my dream was to drive a big car. But little did I know that driving big cars is spending on something that does not bring a return. So you see us on these roads in these big cars. But it's a sickness we grew up in. Don't grow up in that sickness. Invest your money better. Because some of you are your idols. You see us in these big cars. Those who know psychology, that is also a product of a fetish. You grew up wishing you had too many shoes. Then you grow up and buy 1,000 shoes in your house. But you are spending money that you would have used for better investment. I'm just sharing with you my experience. And this is important. The next is that we must address social barriers that hinder you, the youth, in achieving your dreams. I come from Busoga, and that is the one area I have authority to talk about any day. For Uganda, the authority is with the president. For Busoga, I can tell you we have a serious problem. Young girls have become pregnant. But we have a culture that does not allow this. And now we are telling culture, do the right thing. We have young boys who are in sugarcane plantations. And when you go take pictures of them, they are so proud to pose. And you take those pictures. One of my colleagues is here who has been taking these pictures. So we have a crisis of quality of education in that region. And I know that is the problem for every. We are almost getting a problem of a crisis in the area of health to ensure that you stay alive. You can't live your dream if you die. You cannot live your dream if you die. You must live. We must deal with all forms of violence and discrimination. Because for every human being we lose potential. We must enhance economic activities. And I have colleagues from the bank here, banks, and us from the Ministry of Finance. The decisions we make are impacting on you. When we choose to borrow as a government from the market, we are indirectly impacting on you because the interest rates are running high. We must provide you an environment where you have affordable capital. Since we are not creating jobs at the rate we should create them, we should give you opportunities of affordable capital to invest and use your ingenuity. And then we must provide you with the right competencies. Just today, when I came in office in the morning, I had a proposal to approve. Because all proposals now have to go through me, which is not a very good thing. So anything I approve can create trouble for this country. But the proposal was that we extend the number of technical institutions we have in this country. just have more technical institutions. Buildings, buildings, keep building. Because we are used to big things. And I'm inclined not to approve that proposal. Because I think for competence, the problems are processes and systems. Many of you like going to these big schools that look like hotels in this country these days. A school is not about how big the building is. A school is about the processes and systems in that school. No wonder I'm from Namiriango. And I am proud. And when you ask me again, I'll tell you I'm from Busoga College Muiri, the school whose motto you have. For God and my country is from Busoga College Muiri. Take it or leave it. That is it. I'm living my dream. And before I conclude, I want us to reflect on a few things we must do. I've already given you one. For technical education, for God's sake, to help the youth, don't increase the number of technical institutions in this country. Improve on the processes, improve on management. Give them international certification. Because here we are going oil. How many of you, the youth, have been exposed to health and standards in their study? By show of hands. None of you can work in oil. Health and standards is a minimum. It doesn't matter whether you are the best welder, whether you're the best driver, I don't care. No EPC contractor will allow you in their oil field if you have not gone through health, safety standards, training. The other day we had an issue, we need 600 drivers and we don't have them. Because the drivers we are bringing up are not internationally recognized at being certified. And I happen to be the chairman of DIT. The buck stops with me again. We, the old, are not thinking sometimes, why should we be in this situation when we knew 10 years ago that we have oil? So our emphasis going forward should be how international our qualifications. How good is our qualification framework? Can we give the youth an opportunity to move through the ladders for you to start from a technical skill to a formal skill? That is critical for us. Can we deal with quality of education? And I see the director, NCDC, here. And I've just been evaluating the curriculum. And many Ugandans don't know that your curriculum is one of the best. You really don't know. I see people saying, thematic curriculum is a bad curriculum because you're using local language. Who told you? Using local language is the best way to teach any child to comprehend. But I see it, very big people in this government, some of us saying, no, it's a bad thing, local language. Who told you local language is the problem? It has never been. All countries train in local language for higher comprehension. So, madam, the curriculum you have, don't touch it. Just improve the areas where things are going wrong, like the transition, P5 and P6. You have a thematic curriculum, then you have subject, then thematic. That can't work. It's messed up there. So these are things that we must look at to help our youth. And then we say transformative power. We must have transformative education. Not education, but transformative education. You know, I'm also a teacher, so I enjoy testing whether I've taught and people understand. And I'm going to ask you a question, and this will be only for the youth. Some of you are older, I don't want. Because when you're teaching adults, we are told that whatever they say is right. But for the youth, you can be wrong. So, if you're dealing with transformative education, do you know that hard skills are not the most important things anymore in this world? Jobs for the future. Have they told you? Hard skills are not the most important things anymore. The most important things are the soft skills. There are very many economists in this country. But many of you think I'm a very good economist because I communicate my things simply. But there are better economists out there who cannot communicate what they think. That's what makes some of us different. I can pick what you have modeled, make it simpler, go and talk about it, and everybody will think it is mine. For God's sake, it's not. Somebody else doing it. Soft skills. Transformative education gives you autonomous thinking. Do you know the word autonomous? Freedom. You have freedom. You depend on yourself to think. That's what they call transformative education. I don't care whether you are an engineer. The best engineers, the best procurement people we have in this country are engineers. They've never studied procurement. Doctors, best auditors. That was not their general education. But we must also think about transformative, autonomous thinking. So now let me ask you a question, the youth. What do you think are the jobs for the future? Just give me one or four. Jobs for the future. In which areas are they? Technology. Artificial intelligence, yes. Something else? Jobs for the future. Will you see accountants in the future? Let me ask you a question. Will you see accountants in the future? Will you see secretaries in the future? I can name, and many of you might run out of this room. The jobs for the future, if we are going to help the youth, we must give them autonomous thinking. And these are the areas that we want to see our education system going. Complex problem solving. Complex problem solving. Critical thinking and creativity. That is critical. Human resource management, managing people is one of the most difficult things. So if people thought human resource managers are going to go away, you're in trouble. They're going to be here for a long time, and I'm not one. Teamwork and coordination with others. Emotional intelligence. For some of us who are in government, you must know when to stop. The heart of being a very good visitor is to know when to leave. So if you are talking to your boss and you do not know emotional intelligence, you may think you are talking to your equal. Emotionally, you should know when to stop and when to start and where to. That has made a lot of us lose our jobs. Not being emotionally intelligent. Judgment and decision making. Service orientation. Do you put money ahead of service? Do you put service ahead of money? And lastly, network building, among others. Networks. Networks, networks, youth networks. I can say this again. Network, network, network. When you see people joining Rotaract and Rotary, please join. I used to think that joining Rotary was something to show you are pompous, and I never joined. Everywhere you find a network, please join it, but only good networks. In the area of health, we need to think critical about family planning. And the other day when we left the conference, journalists came to me to ask me, you said we should have 2 children. No, I have never said that. I am saying have the children you can afford. If it is 0, don't have. If it is 1, have 1. Youth, the luxury of us having 10 children is not for you, because the economy will squeeze you. People don't have 2 children because they don't want to have 10. They have 2 because they are responsible enough to have the children they can afford. That's what we are talking about, family planning. And in family planning, the doctors here in family planning and others, please, this is not just a health issue. This is a reproductive issue. It is a cultural issue. If you come and attack our cultures without talking to us, we will defeat you. I will just say, we have refused, Bibe. You need to talk to us. It is a whole thing. family planning. You need to talk to the religious people, you need to talk to the culture, you need to talk to everybody for them to understand that you're not killing after all. Then provision of economic activities and access. And for me, there is a big problem. When you look at the numbers, access to land, youth and women, lowest. The majority of us are holding land, which we don't use. And the other day when I proposed that we should tax those who hold land, I was attacked. I still maintain the same view. If you hold land and you don't use it, you should be taxed. You are impacting on our production. Actually, you youth should support me. Why haven't you clapped? You should support me because the elder are holding this asset, they're not giving it to you, and they're not being taxed. There is no incentive to use the land. If you were taxing me, my grandfather's land that I was given, and because of this law here which says that if somebody is 8 years on your land, they should become sitting tenants. We are chasing everybody who has been producing on that land because of that law. Now, that land is idle. The youth need to use it. It's not available to them until I die, not even my children. That is a serious issue. Access to factors of production. These are the battles you should fight, not the other battles. Fight the battles that make you different. And then social protection is critical. And lastly, why do we plan? Who knows? We plan for who? Whom do we plan for? We plan for people. So our planning should be moving towards those who have the big numbers and those who need it most. And now I dare say, in my conclusion, that Uganda cannot achieve that what they call demographic dividend and its vision unless we cautiously invest in the youth. If we do not do that, this big number will remain dependent. They will never become an asset. We must invest. And from the analysis, we all know, business case, we do things the same way. 2040, we will not be beyond $1,500 per capita. But when we invest, we will achieve it and beyond. We've done the analysis, we have the numbers. And as technicians, we are saying we must invest. And the investment in youth is in health, the investment in youth is in education, the investment in youth is in finance. And that is critical. So unless we invest in youth, but I must also tell you that investing in youth is very costly. It's going to be costly, but it is the best decision this country will ever take because the benefits outweigh the costs. May God bless you. For God and my country.
Thank you so much, Dr.
I hope I still have my job. Thank you very much. And that you will not sack me.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for him. Dr. Joseph Mubawala, National Planning Authority. Thank you so much, sir. So, have you seen this, by the way? How many have this? How many don't have? Let's see. Let's check. Let's check. Do you have this? Now, this will be your weapon today. We don't have guns here. We're not allowed to. So in case you want to shoot, this is what you're going to use today. And at this point in time, we are about to have our panelists, so we can have this discussion start. And
Dad, why does this fresh dairy yogurt look different? Dad, why does this fresh dairy yogurt look different? Dad, can I get a baby sister?
Sweetie, this fresh dairy yogurt is different because it's now more creamy, more tasty, and has no preservatives. Here, try some.
It's tasty. tasty. I love it.
Available in 400-gram pouches of mango, mixed berry, vanilla, and strawberry flavors.
Fresh new taste.
Katukwanjulire always cotton soft. Zanjawulo akasusu kayo kagonvu ateka wewevu ku mubiri gwo ate nga zikuwummuza nga bwe zikuwa obukumi olunaku lwonna. Zisangibwa mu maduuka gonna ku silingi 25 zokka.
Jaja, lwaki nyumba yo nkadde nnyo bw'eti?
Saddle Garden mpya akoleddwa mu ngeri y'ekikugu okusobola okuziyiza ebisenge byo okukwatibwa enkonge era n'okubikuuma okumalira ddala ebbanga ddene mu biseera eby'obunnyogovu obungi.
Kakati ennyumba yange ezze butonga nze.
Londawo Saddle Guard okuva mu bakaawo kadda mu kukuuma ebisenge.
Saddle, let's color.
Oluvannyuma lw'okukola ennongoosereza mu tteeka lya Excise Duty Act, gavumenti ya Uganda etwala omukisa guno okutegeeza bannayuganda bonna nti omusolo ku mobile money gukendeeziddwa. Omusolo guno gujja kuba kukuggyayo ssente kwokka ku butundutundu 5 ku buli 100. Okugeza bw'oba oggyayo siringisi emitwalo 10 ojja kuggibwako omusolo gwa siringisi 5. Tewakyali musolo gukuggibwako ng'osindika ssente nga bakuweereza ssente ng'oteekayo ssente oba ng'osasula ebisale. Okumanya ebisingawo tukolera ku simu ku nnamba emu-noti etali yakusasulirwa oba tukyalire ku mutimbagano gwaffe www.airtel.co.ug.
Airtel, the smartphone network. After a long day's work, you need a comfortable living room. A living room that will make you appreciate your hard work. Dreamline Furniture brings you world-class furniture all the way from Turkey. Come and enjoy our 20% discount. Ample parking space is available behind the Winton Road.
I'm Dr. Albert, and I'm here to talk to you about fistula. Most people think that fistula is a curse, and others think that it's caused by witchcraft. Well, this is not true. Obstetric fistula is a birth injury resulting from a difficult delivery, leading to uncontrollable leakage of urine or feces. The good news is that fistula can be prevented and treated. So, how can you prevent and treat fistula? 1. Do not get pregnant if you are below 18 years. Your body is too young and may not be ready for the demands of pregnancy and childbearing. 2. Go for antenatal care when you are pregnant and prepare to deliver at the health center under a skilled health worker. 3. If you already have fistula, go to the health center for care and treatment.
Stop fistula today. Go to the health center for more information about fistula prevention and care.
With DFCU Quick Connect, you can now track your account activity, make bulk payments including salary, utility, and statutory payments, and spend more time running your business. Visit internet.dfcugroup.com to access your corporate account on your laptop or desktop computer at any time, wherever you are. Switch to DFCU Quick Banking and experience how we're making more possible for you. DFCU, with pleasure.
Spark TV presents the Spark TV Mega Festival on the 1st of January 2019 at the Uganda Museum. Come get a feel of the best 10 performances by Uganda's heavyweight musicians and rib-cracking comedians. Plus, kids games, face painting, giveaways, and a special Spark TV tour of the Uganda Museum. Spark TV gets open early for only 10K and 20K VIP. The Spark TV Mega Festival, sponsored by Darling Uganda, Rose Farm Mattresses, Sema Properties, organized by Banjo Events and Abitex Promotions.
Hey, yeah, so I know. What you call it, yeah, plumber. Power every time.
Give a gift of light and entertainment to your family and friends this Christmas season with Solar Now solar products like TVs, fridges, water pumps, and many more. You can also cook your Christmas meals faster and smoke-free with Solar Now cook stoves, and get high-quality products with up to 2 years warranty and 2 years credit. Visit any of our 50 branches countrywide for more information.
Solar Now, powering life.
International Uganda, and was formerly a trustee of the Population Council of New York, as well as the Commonwealth Medical Trust of London.
Our next panelist is Stella Abola.
Stella Abola, Client Coverage Manager, Stanbic Bank. Stella is responsible for managing a cross-section of client relationships of international development organizations and diplomatic missions within Stanbic's corporate and investment banking department. Stella has over 13 years' experience in both retail and corporate banking. In her current role, Stella provides strategic leadership and guidance to her team in building partnerships with international development organizations. For Stella, this is more than just a job. She is passionate about her work and takes pride and pleasure in working with these organizations to deliver Uganda's social and economic development agenda. She holds an MBA from Uganda Matters University in Kosi.
Our next panelist, ladies and gentlemen, is Zilla Mary Arach.
Zilla Mary Arach, co-founder and chief technology officer at Aquarian Company Limited. Zilla and her team developed Easier Greek software, an on-demand platform providing production, marketing, and financial services to farmers and agribusinesses. Easier Greek has been recognized at both local and international scenes. Easier Greek was voted the best global innovation utilizing artificial intelligence to instantly predict fall armyworm pest in plants in Cape Town, South Africa. Zilla is a member of board of directors at LaSalle Technologies Limited. While at university, Zilla won a highly contested election to become the first female guild president of Busitama University. In 2017, Zilla won an overall Young Achievers Awards and another award for the best ICT innovation in agriculture. This year, Zilla has been recognized as inspiring and innovative young women in science by the Young Einstein Forum.
Our next panelist, ladies and gentlemen, is Gideon Badagawa.
Gideon Badagawa, Executive Director, Private Sector Foundation, Uganda. Gideon holds a master's degree in development economics from the University of Rotterdam in Netherlands, a postgraduate diploma in environmental management from the Maastricht School of Management, and a bachelor's degree in statistics from Makerere. He has attended several courses in economics and the environment, including statistics for environment policy at the Monich Center for Advanced Training. His experience as an academician, businessman, and private sector representative spans over 20 years. Currently, Gideon is the Executive Director, Private Sector Foundation, Uganda. Before joining Private Sector Foundation Uganda in 2010, he worked with Uganda Manufacturers Association as Executive Director for 2 years, and for 9 years leading policy advocacy at UMA.
Our next panelist is Ian Lumonya.
Ian Lumonya, student of law at Uganda Christian University, Mukono. He completed his O and A levels at King's College, Budo, where he served as head prefect. While at Bordeaux, Ian represented the school at Brock School in Massachusetts, where he emerged as a finalist in the World Public Speaking Contest. From 2015 to 2016, Ian was the Vice President of the Uganda Secondary Schools Prefects Association and was the national runner-up in the DSTV Hotel Star Awards 2015. Ian is one of the founders and directors of Hasbro Holdings, a growing conglomerate with interests in catering and events. Ian is the brainchild behind the Washiriki Youth Leadership Camp, which provides mentorship for youth in career, community service, and basic entrepreneurship. Ian aims to transform lives of Africans by guiding and preparing the young generation for strategic political and non-political leadership and business management.
And last but not least, our next panelist is a man who I've just known that he's very modest with the highest sense of humility, because he never told you that he is also a prime minister. Dr. Joseph Muvawala.
Dr. Joseph Muvawala, Executive Director of National Planning Authority. Prior to joining the National Planning Authority, Dr. Muvawala worked as the Chief Country Economist at the African Development Bank. Dr. Muvawala is determined to turn the National Planning Authority into the premier planning institution, the first advisor on policy to the government. He is convinced of the need to strengthen links between government institutions in order to find solutions to the development challenges the country faces. In order for Uganda to transform into a middle-income country, as projected in Vision 2040, Muvawala believes there is need to set achievable targets and to invest in value addition in agriculture.
A round of applause to all the panelists, ladies and gentlemen. And this is how we are going to move. I'll give the panelists 5 minutes each to make a case on what we need to do so that we can develop the young people, so that we can work with them using the energies that you have and the wisdom that they have, their expertise, their experiences, because they have also been young before, so they know the challenges you face, but also they are leaders in their different capacities, so we're going to learn from them as much as they're going to learn from you. These are going to be our rules of engagement. We shall speak one at a time. So you'll put up your hand from wherever you're seated. I'll be able to identify you probably by the color of your attire, pardon me, because if I don't know your name, I'll say the gentleman in white. Probably I will say the lady in red. I hope you allow me to do that, because I may not be knowing all your names. Or perhaps I will tell by the row where you are seated. Please be precise and concise so that we can have many people contribute. You don't get a microphone and then you talk forever. Just go to the topic, introduce yourself, tell us your name, where you're from, and go for your question or comment that you have. And please respect the divergent opinion. In case the panelists here speak something that you don't agree with, it is very important to show them respect, especially when you disagree, because that's what shows us that we are civilized people. But I hope we are going to agree. But if we don't agree, I hope we are going to disagree respectfully. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome the panelists with a round of applause. I'm going to take my seat and then determine who is going to speak first. In case you agree, you can wave this showing yes. If you don't, you can do this saying no. For example, Dr. Muvawala said that we should tax those who have idle land. Do you agree? Let me see how you're going to use those things. Okay. Most of them are blue, so they agree. With a few ones saying no. Okay, that's how we're going to move. That's how we are going to move. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we seem to have constituted a rich panel. People of different experiences and expertise, and I'm sure they're going to add value to this morning, to our understanding, and perhaps we're going to advance Uganda's development agenda using the resources that we have in the house today. I am going to begin with somebody perhaps who can identify with you more, and that is Ian Lumonya. Ian Lumonya will speak to us first about the issue that concerns young people. What do we need to do and what the problems are and how we can solve them. Ian, you have got 5 minutes, sir.
To mention would be to omit, and to omit would be to offend. All protocol observed. Good morning. Since I am on this panel, I'm the freshest out of school, so I believe I have the most authority when it comes to the education system of Uganda, because I believe the education system of Uganda is the core at solving the issues that we have in this country today. The issue of employment and the issue of entrepreneurs being equipped with the skills to create jobs for the youth population. Just like Dr. Mubawala said, we have an issue whereby the standard is every 1% increase in population should result in 10,000 jobs. And yet in Uganda, every 1% increment in population results in 450 jobs. This clearly shows that we need to boost entrepreneurship. But before we get there, we need to tackle the issue of education. In Uganda, the issue of employability has been left to the tertiary institutions. Most employers set a minimum standard of a degree or a diploma for you to apply for their jobs. And I believe that is not feasible because in Uganda, by 2015, between the ages of 18 to 30, we only had 3.4% of those youth having completed education in tertiary institutions. 14.3% are secondary school dropouts and 24.7% are primary school dropouts. So we have a question of how can we transfer the issue of employability down the line? How can we make the majority of people, the secondary school dropouts and the primary school dropouts, more employable? How can we change the mindset of employers to take on these people? Because in countries like the United States of America, tertiary institutions are very, very expensive. So most people finish after their high school and they can access jobs. And I think we need to select such a model so that we can transform our curriculum in secondary school to make people more acceptable in the job market. For example, I believe some of the knowledge we learn in high school is inapplicable in Uganda. Most people don't get the chance to apply it. For example, in O-level geography, you learn about fish farming in British Columbia. You learn about the trees planted in British Columbia, like the Douglas fir. You learn about the current flows of the water. You learn about so many things. So you come out of your S4, you know about British Columbia, you know about their fish farming, their forestry, but that's inapplicable to you. It would be better if you trained us about the current flows of water in Lake Shoga, in Lake Victoria, and the fish farming in Lake Victoria. The type of trees we grow in Uganda, so that after my S4, I can be employed by someone that's having a forestry project. I can be employed by someone that's having a fish farming project. Because agriculture is really growing in Uganda. Industrialization is growing in Uganda. But our S4s, if you get him and try to give him a job, he knows nothing. He's trying to learn from the job. So how can we make these people, this 14.3% and 24.3% of the youth, secondary school dropouts and primary school dropouts more employable? So I would suggest a shift in focus from the tertiary institutions to the primary and secondary school institutions. And like our Honorable Minister said, the curriculum is being reviewed. And I was suggesting that the environment changes so fast. You can't take 10 years trying to change a curriculum. Maybe you could employ the design mechanism whereby you release a new product when it's most viable and then keep adjusting it as you get feedback from the people. So, for example, we have new technologies coming up. We have blockchain technology. Makerere will take 12 years to prepare a curriculum. Who knows, in 12 years, blockchain could be normal. So we need to act faster and utilize things while they're still relevant. Because you're not going to train people 12 years later, then it's not going to be useful anymore. Then to solve the issue of employment, I think we need to have a situation whereby a census is done to know which job areas need more labor. because you're going to have everyone in school wants to study law, wants to study medicine, they want to follow their dreams. But I think we need to guide them and tell them we have too many lawyers, we have too many doctors, but we don't have translators. So that someone fills in their job forms in S6 knowing, I'm applying for law, but there are no jobs there. Or I'm applying to be a translator because we have so many foreign investors coming here, and we don't have enough translators to help them out. So that someone knows, if I apply to this course, I go there knowing there may be no jobs. But I'm also aware that I could take this option and I'm going to find jobs in the job market. Then when it comes to skilling of the youth, usually employers, I think there should be a dialogue between employers and tertiary institutions. The big companies, the ministry, the private sector, they should sit down with Makerere University, Uganda Christian University, and inform these people, the deans, you're giving us people, but they're lacking these skills. You need to train them and educate them and examine them in these skills because it's what we need. For example, I believe the Uganda Christian University had a dialogue with the legal fraternity, and they discovered that very many lawyers did not know how to present in court. So UCU reacted by introducing compulsory mooting. This is where every law student must have an experience of what a court looks like. So that kind of pleases the employers because they now know graduates from this university, they can speak, they can present in court. They're not going to come and lack that skill.
Thank you. A round of applause to Ian Lumonia. I know Ian has got many other points to bring, but we're still here. And he's talked about the issue of education. Why should we be discussing about the prairies of Canada, yet we can be talking about the Chogai experience? Thank you very much, Ian. I'm going to bring the next person to speak to us who perhaps is within the bridge, within the very young, maybe in between, but also has done something. And that is Zilla Mary Arach.
Good morning, all protocol observed. So I'll just build on what Ian has said. What is it that the young people want? What is it that we want? What is it that, why did we come here in large numbers? What do you want to listen to? Today, the young people want to live their dream. We all want to live our dreams. At least I'm living part of my dream, being seated here, being part of the panel. Who would have thought? Exactly, so I'm also living my dream. So what do the young people want today? The young people today want to lead in business. The young people today want to be empowered. They want to have the opportunity to lead. The young people today want to have the choice when to have a baby and when not to have. The young people today want to walk on the streets and be secure. The young people today want to walk into a room, into a boardroom and not be judged, but just judged by the ideas that they're presenting. The young people today want the opportunity. They want to be empowered. So for the past, we graduated in 2014 and we started a company as young people. In our company, all of us are young. None of us is 30 yet, but we're almost there. So we had the opportunity we chose entrepreneurship. We chose to go for the job creation. It was a decision we made way back while still at school. But what was different for us then was the opportunity we were given, we were exposed. We knew what it meant to be entrepreneur. We knew what required for someone to be an entrepreneur. Today, most of us are, when we graduate, most of us are looking to jobs that are very few, like very, very few, yet we have the skills. Like Ian said, our education system is not preparing us for the next big jobs. Our education system is not preparing us enough. It's teaching us, many of us are knowledgeable. I'm very sure most of you in your field, if they ask you to define something, you're very knowledgeable. But what is the use of knowledge what is knowledge if you can't put it to good use? If you're an engineer and you can define what engineering is, what models to use, but if you can't use that knowledge to build yourself, then what was the point of you taking that class? So you find that most of us leave school, but the employable skills are lacking. Some of us we employ, so we know what it means to have someone who has gone through 4 years of engineering, 2 years of diploma, but they are not employable because of the skills that they lack, the critical skills. And today, the young people do not only want the hard skills like Dr. Joseph said, the soft skills. Can you be able to communicate to me very clearly the ideas that you're trying to put forward? The problem-solving skills. Like I said, knowledge, it's not enough to be knowledgeable, but it's important to use the knowledge you have to improve your environment. It's important to use the knowledge you have to make your life better. Just for example, there are so many youth today who are trying to run startups, very many, in the startup scene, very, very many. I looked at, when you look at the topic today, young population driving socio-economic transformation of Uganda, there are so many who are trying to, but what do we need? We need capital to make that process faster. If I'm going to be taxed the same way that MTN, that has been around for 20 years, and I've been around as a startup for 1 year, isn't that very unfair for me to move forward as a business person, as someone driving entrepreneurship? How much, like all the policies that we are talking about, if we can have policies that are advocating for investors to come in and then you give them tax holidays, what about for a young person who is just starting over and they're looking for affordable capital? Because at the end of the day, when you look at the population of the young, that is quite big. And if we can create more jobs, not just, if we can be in the driving seat of creating more opportunities for other young people, then we are following the right cause.
Thank you very much, Zida. But before I can move on to another, something you created using your own ingenuity and creativity. This is a time to sell it and also perhaps to inspire. Okay.
Yeah, so we created a company called Acorion, and Acorion has a product called Easier Greek. Today we have full-time employees, 13 full-time employees, and 520 village agents who are using our application to help farmers map out their garden. 2, help them get market information. 3, farmers are now accessing loans through our app. Now, I'm a computer engineer, but I used the skills I gained from computing to solve problems in agriculture, and that's what we are trying to do, that use the knowledge you have to solve the problems around you. So we have worked with 60,000 farmers since 2015, and in our journey, I'll be lying to you if I say it was all a smooth road that we started. It was quite bumpy, like really, really bumpy from the start. You get into a boardroom, and the first thing, if you present the idea, people are like, okay, you're so young. You're like, yes. Can you first speak about the idea? And the beauty about it is that if you don't stop, if you don't give up, if you don't give up and keep trying, it eventually works out. So when we started in 2015, a group of friends from campus, we are very excited with the knowledge we are gaining, and we actually saved. We got the capital from our savings. On a semester basis, we used to put aside an amount, everybody. It was mandatory for everybody to put aside an amount. And then at the end of the day, besides the skill, we had very little capital, but we started. So we owe it to ourselves as the young people to try, like we owe it to ourselves to try. Just like in my village, we have young people who are starting carpentry. And sometimes when they meet you, they ask you, how do you do it? It doesn't matter where you are. Like there are resources there are resources around you. Whether your father, whether your parents are not very educated, ask your parents, who is there? I want to learn carpentry. Who in that village do you know that can teach me? like make use of the we just like we did. We try to make use of resources around us. You can also make use of resources around you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause to Zila. Do not just judge them because of their age. Please listen to the content of their mind. And they're such inspiring people who are solving our problems. Our next panelist to speak to us is Stella Abola. Stella.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, once again. I'm honored to be here and also to be sitting with the likes of Zila, Dr. Magichikozi, people who I have watched from a distance and admired. The keynote speaker said something to us about the quality of a population, and I think that was really the gist of this whole discussion. What is the quality of our population like today? When you look at 70% of the Ugandans who are below the age of 30, we have immense potential, number one, on our hands, but also a big challenge that collectively we can be able to address. But before we address the challenges that we are seeing, how do we start? And I think in defining the start is to know where are we right now. And some of the speakers have already given us some information in relation to that. But also, where do we want to go? Where do we see ourselves in the next 1 year, in the next 3 years, the next 5, 10, 30 years as a country? Given that the population that we are holding right now, the bulk of them are below the age of 30. So it starts with how do we begin to work with them? How do we involve the youth at all levels, both in the capital city but also in the grassroots, deep down in the villages, in the dialogue for meaningful transformation, in the dialogue for meaningful contribution, in the dialogue for contribution from a sustainable perspective. Mr. Muvawala said something about the curriculum, and I will politely decline, or rather say no, about the curriculum remaining as it is. We may not change all aspects of it, but we can review what is working for us and what is not working for us that we can revise. Speaking to what Ian said earlier on, with regards to the curriculum not being relevant to today's environment, how do we now look at it and incorporate tertiary education to support skilling of youth and young people? How do we look at it to incorporate the new jobs of tomorrow as articulated by Dr. Muvawala? How do we now incorporate non-traditional courses, like in fashion and design, in arts and skilling, in music, dance and drama? Because we've seen, for instance, Nigeria, India have done very well in the music and arts. Yeah? So how do we now incorporate those learnings from the other countries to be able to make a meaningful transformation for Uganda? Dr. Muvawala said something about a proposal coming to him for approval of tertiary institutions. And he said brick and mortar alone is not going to help us. There has to be meaningful transformation. So how do we ensure that we have sufficient grassroots training centers for our people in the grassroots, not just in Kampala, so that everybody doesn't have to go to Makerere University, but can be able to go to a school where they will learn skills in bakery, skills in art, skills that will help them to actually create jobs as opposed to looking around for employment. So in terms of our capacity to be able to serve the young population, what are we doing? One of the things that I have seen work is skilling and training development. So both skilling for soft skills as well as hard skills. What we have observed over the period of time is that a lot of times the soft skills, like the right attitude, mindset, the right frame of mind, a positive attitude, humility, integrity, accountability, are lacking amongst the youth. So what can we do to support that shift in mind? I happen to mentor a number of young people in my care, and I've observed that a number of them want to get rich quickly. Yeah, they want to get rich quickly because They see, for instance, Stella is driving a car. So after 1 year in school, they want to get a car. That means taking a loan without necessarily understanding how am I going to be able to support myself and also pay the debt that I owe. So how do we get people to appreciate the need for patience and the need to actually work hard? Then I've also observed that a number of our young people give up very, very easily. But that also stems from a problem I think we have also inculcated as the older people, although I'm not that old. What have we done to handhold the young people? And I believe many of us here have somebody that looks up to us, at least one person. What have we done for them? How productive have we kept them? Have we, employed them? Have we kept them busy? Because what I know is that many young people, if they're not productive, if they're idle, a lot of things start to take place. They start getting into drug abuse, they start engaging in sexual violence, and a whole host of these challenges which only increase the burden on the country's resources. Lastly but not least, when you look at the demographic dividend, right now, I have 4 dependents that I'm supporting, and I believe there's a good number of people here who also have a number of dependents that they're supporting. But where is this stemming from? It stems from the foundation that was laid. So the question remains for us, how are we going to change that story? How are we going to increase the number of people in the working force and reduce the number of dependents? Because then that impacts on our ability to save, to invest, so that we can get the dividends that Dr. Mufawala talked about, and also on our ability to protect our young girls and boys from sexual violence. Sexual violence is not only a problem that girls are facing, even the young boys are facing it. So how are we able to do that if we are able to actually address the problem at hand? Thank you very much.
Thank you. A round of applause to Stella. Issues of integrity, issues of accountability, and the young people trying to get money so quickly without understanding those who have the money, what did they go through to get that money. So another round of applause. And our next speaker is Director of Private Sector Foundation in Uganda, Gideon Batagawa. I can imagine many young people come to your office every day. Sometimes you are on the interviewing panel, you're asking them questions, you're assessing our kind of education system, they present to you their cases and how they can solve the problems. You understand the kind of quality of population we have in Uganda. What we need to do to enhance that population so that we can have a demographic dividend in the future, very near future, that can turn things around. Mr. Batagawa, sir.
Thank you very much, Patrick, and good morning, everyone. I think the question we're asking ourselves this morning that are the young people driving change in this country? Are they driving socio-economic transformation? In other words, is our youthful population becoming useful? And clearly, there is a lot of potential if you go by the presentations that have already been made. There is a lot of potential, there is a lot of opportunity. And the youthful people that are in this room and those that are out there, I think there is a warning that is being sounded from this part of this group. That if you live your life casually, you will end up a casualty. That's what many people say. So each one of us, you the youth, have determined your destiny, and you need to make your choices, and those choices right. You know you are doing drugs, you are doing alcohol, you are doing all sorts of things, promiscuity, sexual violence, like Arachi said. Now, these ones can only drive you to failure. You will not succeed. And it's very difficult to make bad choices when you are young at the age of 25. Because research experience is that you have a whole 70 years to live. So if you get it wrong now, you remain a casualty for the rest of the 70 years. You'll do that when you turn 70, because then you'll have only 20 years to live. Having said that, there is a lot of potential in the youth in this country. And the best way to invest, the best way to lay our investments as Uganda, both in the private sector but also in government, is to focus on this potential of the young people. And this has already been said by the keynote speaker. Now, coming from the private sector, what are we looking for? I'll tell you that there are three things that we look for if you are going to gain employment, whether it's going to be self-employment or whether you're going to be employed by government or someone else. And these are the three things. One is the academics, the qualifications. We advertise and we need qualifications. So it's good to go to school and get that degree. Could be a first-class degree. But that is only about 20% of what the employer is looking for. The employer is looking for hard skills, and they are looking for skills at a level of 50%. So if you like, you can do 20% qualifications and experience, 30% practical skills, the training, and that's what makes TVET institutions very, very critical, especially if we go by what Dr. Muvala is saying, to fix the systems and management and so on and so forth. The TVET institutions, so that you are practicable. You can be deployed, because in the private sector, unless you can be deployed, you cannot be employed. Why should I employ you if I cannot deploy you? So it's very important to have the hands-on training, to be able to be productive. Then three are the soft skills. Soft skills ride at about 50%. I will tell you something that you don't want to hear. Job creators are not the investors. People who create jobs, they are not the people that lay capital and investments. It is the people that are looking for these jobs. Are you job ready? So it's very important to talk about soft skills, how you carry yourself. Qualifications and experience can earn you an interview session. So you are invited for an interview, shortlisted, just going by the qualifications and the experience. Now at the interview, someone is going to read your attitude, is going to read your behavior, is going to read your mind, how you carry yourself, your communication skills, and so on. These are not things that you go to school to learn, but they are learned even before the age 6, and that's why we must emphasize early childhood development. Parenting is very important. When you plant a wrong seed, however much you irrigate, however much you water it, you cannot get the result. So parenting is very important, and for me, I'm looking mainly at three stakeholders here. I'm looking at the parent, I'm looking at the teachers in schools through the education system, primary, secondary, universities, colleges, and so on, and I'm looking to government on standards, on regulation, and so on and so forth. So these are the three key stakeholders. The private sector is available to offer a job if the person who is looking for a job is ready for it. And for me, I'm arguing that the most important aspect that we are going to look to, integrity, honesty, teamwork, problem solving, critical thinking, all these are things that are required for employment. So young people pay more attention to these aspects of soft skills. And if we can vocationalize education along the way, so that we do not make TVET institutions just a by the way, because people fail to go to TVET institution. You first fail before you go to TVET institution. That is the practice here. And I'm arguing, like we have gone through the education system ourselves here, because we are now in our future. I have been privileged to go to the same school like my Prime Minister. You can guess what that was. I have been privileged to go to Usoga College Mwiri. And in Usoga College Mwiri, during those days, we used to do carpentry, metalworks, gardening, all these aspects were there. Today you look at the education system, we're emphasizing theory. Theory is important, but practical training is even more important than theory. Because I told you theory is 20%, practical training is 30%, soft skills will be 50%. So we should not wait to get to vocational training, business, education, and so on and so forth, after people have failed at senior 4, at senior 6. Because right now, and this is where I think we need again to work on the educational curriculum, is it vocationalized well enough? So that if a child leaves primary 5 under UPE, they can go fishing, carpentry, bricklaying, and so on and so forth. These are things that speak to economic empowerment. Because it is impracticable for us to carry money and give it to the youth. I think this is the wrong way to go, in my opinion. And I'm saying, in my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Gideon Badagao. A round of applause to him. By the way, we still have our minister, the Honorable Minister for the Youth, State Minister for the Youth is still here. And so remember, when the panelists, after finishing making their contributions, when you raise your questions, you can also ask our minister a question, because she already spoke to us. So before even she's called to do other state duties, let us engage her the more so that we get to know, because she's our leader, she's your leader, and she's been here since morning. Our next panelist to speak to us is by the way, a sports person, is by the way, a farmer, a business person, at one time an executive director, sits on many boards, a medical doctor. She has shattered so many glass ceilings. Dr. Maggie Kigozi, please share your experiences and also tell us how you managed to shatter the glass ceiling up to where you are, or if there are still some other places to knock down.
Thank you very much. Oh, the ceilings never end. Still ambitious. In fact, I'm rather disappointed. I thought I would speak between this one and Alan over there. But, you know.
There was no such a formula, but.
The generation didn't work. Yes. So, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, to thank UNFPA. Thank you so much. This is wonderful, bringing us together across generations. To start with, Uganda is blessed. I don't think anybody says it the way I see my country. My country is beautiful. Ask the Europeans who are there. They will tell you what it looks like in Europe now. It's snow, isn't it? Egyptians will tell you what the desert looks like. And look at my country. Just go outside and see what it is. Yeah? Those of you who haven't traveled really don't know what you're sitting on. So it's green, the weather's fantastic, and we are resource rich. We are in every sector. You know, we have it all. The land, we have the wildlife, we have the forest, we have the water. Egypt would die for Lake Victoria, but we have it. Yeah, and we don't appreciate it. No, we don't even irrigate. Our water sits in Lake Victoria and goes off to Egypt, and they irrigate fantastically. So, and we have the youth. What wouldn't Japan do for our youth? What wouldn't Sweden do for our youth? We have the youth that people do not have. They would love to have. So let's look at our youth positively. These are very smart. Just look at this one. You don't have to look far. I have Miss Uganda there. We had Miss Tourism there. Our youth are smart. They're entrepreneurial. I don't see yeses. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. Am I saying something wrong here? Yeah. They're very entrepreneurial and they are very educated. Congratulations, Honorable Minister. Congratulations, OHT. Yes, you planned well. UPE, USE has done it. If our Miss Uganda was top 3 with a UPE education, come on. Come on, let's hear that. So, parenting. Are we doing well enough as parents? when you see our values? Are we passing them on? We are busy parents now. And I think we, the older, this one is to you, the older generation, and you, the parents to be, we are not doing very well. My parents looked after me. That's why I am who I am. They told me what to do and what not to do, and I think we are not doing very well at this point. Co-curricular education, how many of you volunteer? Young generation. You do not. Who is a scout here? Oh, come on. Yes. One or two scouts. Who's a guide? Who is with NGOs? Many of you, I hope. Let's fight AIDS together. Reach a hand, Uganda. Who is volunteering there? Yeah, I knew those ones would be there because they're great guys. Do you know what benefits there are being a part of these? I share with you, talked about sports. Who doesn't know Maggie Bleak? Let's say your first name that everybody knows, and therefore opens the door whenever I walk in. Yeah, that is sports. But I did everything. So go curricular, please, be a part of that. Volunteer. You learn so much. I believe I had no problem, OHT were ED, managing CHOGAM, the business forum, because of what the scouts taught me. We manage all kinds of camps and trips and all that. So you learn where you volunteered and you bring that into your work. The private sector education, investment in education is brilliant. It's the reason why many of you are here. And so education is critical for the youth. Continue seeking it. I don't mean that first degree. I'm a medical doctor. I don't give injections anymore. I'm now a farmer. I was in government promoting investment. I was in business, and I still am with Pepsi Cola. So your first degree is really just pointing to the fact that you can think and you can learn. You can learn more. So I agree totally with our keynote speaker that our education system is not bad because we get the best as well. Look at who's running Oxfam. Winnie Byanyima. Do you think she went abroad for her education? She was here. She was among us. And many others are representing MTN in Botswana and what have you. I work with some of the best. I know who they are. And they went through the Ugandan education system. So please don't blame the system. Yes, you can blame the school. I was in Gayaza. Okay. Gayaza is Gayaza. I had Budo on the other side. Budo is Budo. And I had Mwiri and Namiryango. Yes. So we do have the best as well. And the best also tends to lump themselves with the others who had less opportunity and say we are all very sad youth. I am sorry. You are not sad youth. You are youth in a country that's full of opportunities. Wake up. And you are going to do it yourself because in 1989, government of Uganda put a policy in place where this economy is private sector led. Private sector led. Who's the private sector? She's right here. She's next to me. And some of you are private sector. Okay? And you can do it. You can do it. Why? Because you will continue to seek knowledge. You will keep on being curious and learning. Forget social media. Stop chatting to your friend all the time. And I think that's what a lot of us are doing, included over here. Because Uganda is full of opportunities. What can you start? Trade is an easy one. You can start by trading. It doesn't require a lot of capital because you sell the things and you get back. You can go into the services because you're so educated. ICT, she's using it, right? The creative industry, who here can sing? Who has talent? Who's in film? Yes? A few of you are. Definitely, we have NTV over there, wonderful speaker. And we have our MC here today. That's the creative industry. A lot of you can find jobs there. It's not only Chameleon who can sing. He needs the one who gives them the support, all the various support, video making and all that. So that's a great sector. Education. Why do you think St. Lawrence had 5 schools? Why Victoria has 4 schools? Because schools make money. They are asking you for early childhood education. That's what I had Gideon say. Nursery school, start there and grow. That's what these ladies, Barbara from Victoria's. Agriculture, tourism, oil and minerals. So, you are not a business person, you tell me that. We asked the Ministry of Education many years ago to include entrepreneurship skills in the curricula. And they did, to a certain extent. And so, if you didn't get that, go and get it. It's 5 days. Gideon, isn't it? Enterprise Uganda, a 5-day course, and you're a business person. Go and get it. So search for this knowledge, and you become a business person. Start small, grow your business. None of us, no, it's not true. Again, you are lumping yourself with the poor. Often not necessary. Do you have a brother who has some money? A sister who might give you $1 million shillings to start your business? Some of you do. But I hear the youth mourning, and I'm sorry, youth, I love you more than anyone else. But I don't like mourning and groaning. We can do it. You can do it. All right? Some of you are lucky you can't find some startup capital. And the government has a few programs that you might try your luck with. So start small, grow your business. And the good news for you now, they are role models. We had no role models. But now you see, there's this one. You see with Patrick Wichature, you see guys that came from nowhere. Samona, look at what he has been able to achieve from cooking Rolex. There were no Rolexes then, chapati in the market, to now employing over 1,000 people. You do have role models, and yes, you can do it. Thank you very much.
A round of applause. Dr. Maggie Kigozi pointed out education, saying they have gone through the same system in the 70s, in the 80s, but is it still the same? Are they still producing the kind of people that we need? Okay, maybe you'll have to raise some of those questions. What has gone wrong? Some people say that our golden era was in the 1960s, that somebody who finished high school then maybe was more qualified than somebody with a degree today. So what is going wrong? But still in the same system, you'll find Lumonia, you'll find Mary.
Exactly.
So we have to go back and pick it where we lost it. Our next panelist is from the National Population Council, the Executive Director, Dr. Josam Singh.
Thank you, Patrick, and I want to take the opportunity to thank the Honourable Minister, but also the conveners of this meeting, both UNFPA and the NTV, for making us come here together to have this discussion, which should have happened a long time ago, so congratulations. So I will, Patrick, I'm going to, I think I have listened to all the speakers. I think there's only one more panelist who has already spoken. So we know what we have spoken about. And let me start with your question. People are saying the golden age was before. No, the best things are coming in the future. And I think it's where Maggie took it from. Is that a yes or no?
Yes.
Now, it is true that currently when you look at the young people in Uganda, you have a lot of challenges. But also from what Maggie has said, from other people have said, there are plenty of opportunities. It is true, Honourable Minister, the policies, and I'm going to make trouble for you so that the young people here ask a lot of questions. The policies, and I want to go to that, the policies may not yet be optimal. But as you know, some of us have been in the population field for very many years. We started bringing to attention of government that the population is growing very fast. But now you know you have a huge population. We are almost 40 million. The bottom, the pyramid of population, if you draw it with the bottom is heavy, meaning that we have a lot of dependency. We have a lot of young people. They need schools, they need to be taken care of and stuff like that. But we're also working with the policies that are going to help the country to make sure that we reduce the dependency, but build a structure that has a lot of people in the workforce. And the challenges that, Honourable Minister, that you must bring to these young people, the discussion that we must hold, is as we do this transition, the demographic transition, to aim at a demographic dividend, which the keynote speaker said as an economist, a dividend, demographic dividend. If it is a dividend, it means we must have invested there. So the questions are, do we have the policies in education, in health, in job creation, in security and governance to make sure that we are creating enough jobs for these people to have incomes, to be able to earn money, save money with the reduced dependency so that you don't have too many dependents, you can save, but also you can invest and become the engine of growth of our country. That is the role that we envisage. The young people, once they have grown, we have a youth bulge, but they must also be educated. They must have skills, and we have had the skills we are talking about, just not skills of PhDs of Dr. Muvawara. No, Dr. Muvawara is one in many, but we want to make sure that I come from Kanungu, that people have skills to bring food on the table of their families. What do I mean by that? Is there an industry in Kanungu, and it has local people who can do the electrical, they can do the plumbing, they can do the carpentry. Those are the type of things that we're talking about. We want to see all these industries, Honourable Minister, in all these places, giving people jobs, decent jobs, so that they are able to bring food on their table. And to me, I think what we should be doing is really to have a dialogue. Young people, the policies must work for you. That's the discussion we're going to have, whether you are in education, whether in health, whether in the economy, including governance, so that you have peace when you go to these places. At your workplace, you have peace, you are respected, you are governed very well, there is no corruption, so that the money they pay, the taxes you pay, are not just going in people's pockets. The corruption must be dealt with. So the question would be, are the policies in place? And I think agreeing with Maggie Chigozi, she was my classmate, so we must agree. I think the stage is set, but I must admit it is not good enough. Both government and also our young people, we need to make sure that our mindset, ourselves, is changing. When I was in school, I must mention my school because I have heard this, everybody is mentioning their school. Nobody has mentioned my school. I went to Ntare School. Ntare School has produced 3 sitting presidents in the region. When I was there, we had English UK teachers. In the class at the HS, we were only 15 pupils. So my biology teacher, my chemistry teacher, they knew us very well. So they looked at me, they said, for you, you go and study medicine. And I'm living my dream. I went for medicine. Right now I'm living my dream. But it was because I had that contact with the teacher. We're only 15. And they told others, they told one, you go and become an engineer, this one, some of them, they told you.
Do we still have that kind of contact?
So what I'm saying is that you guys, you have a challenge as young people. We talked about, some people say the golden age has gone, but me and Maggie, we say no, it is ahead. But you don't have what I had when I was at Ntare School. So what must you do? But you have other things that I didn't have at that time. You have lots of things. Right now, I am an apple grower. I grow apples in Kanungu. I pay my workers on phone. When I live here during lunchtime, I'm going to send money to my workers there. We didn't have this. So the situation has changed. I think Dr. Muvara said it. Things are changing. Some you retain, others you must look at. Parents must still look after their children. Teachers must still do their job. But we must also know the environment is changing, and we must learn to change with it so that we take advantage of it. You young people, you have greatest opportunity. You have lots of things coming to you. So take the opportunity and make sure that you hold government accountable to making sure the policies are working for you as well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jotham. Yes, issues of skilling, issues of grooming, issues of raising children with values, and education is key. Maybe I'll ask again Dr. Muvawala to speak to us, but he already gave us a keynote address, but I'm sure maybe he is now listening to all of you, probably has got some ideas to add before I can come to the audience. And I know vocational institutions have been built all over Uganda. In fact, there's one in Namutamba in Busoga, there's one in Kyenjo, where I come from, and I think I've seen another one in Agapo. But when you look at the enrollment, it is so poor. And yet all of us are saying it is vocationalization is going to help us. But we are not taking our children there. And the institutions are just there like white elephants in Namutamba, in Kyenjo, in Agago. So what is the problem, sir?
I think people vote with their feet. They are not dumb as we think. You can tell them to go vocational, but if the quality that is coming there is not that good, people will not go there. What we've done is that we have very good buildings. We've done a good job. We have not done a good job with the processes and systems in those technical institutions. We cannot continue running technical institutions as if they are secondary schools. When I look at the budget, the per capita that is sent to a technical institution is equal to a secondary school. That is already a misnomer. That for me in a technical institution, I need the wood. I must work with the wood to make a chair.
Isn't that your docket as the National Planning Authority?
So the point is, it is my docket. Yes. And it's my duty to tell government as their assessor. Because I'm autonomous, and I tell government where you're doing well and where we're not doing well. We've done very well with access. We have to do better with quality. There is no question about that. We've done very well. No doubt. We have to do better. In health, we've done very well with access. In education, we've done extremely well with access. And the intention was that. But now the thing is, we have to go for quality. And when I was talking about curriculum, it was in the context of primary. Your primary curriculum, ladies and gentlemen, has no problem. I've looked at it. I can say I'm excellent in that area. But your problems begin when you go to technical education, when you go to secondary education, where you're having duplications. I am studying agriculture, I'm doing mechanical. I'm studying physics, the same mechanical, I find it there. I am studying agriculture, I'm doing biology, the same biology. The duplications that need to be dealt with. And when you come to technical, this is competency, my friend. I must come out of a technical school able to make a chair. That's the bottom line. Don't teach me how they make a chair using a chalk and blackboard. I must come out of a technical school able to make a chair. Because the reasons systems exist, primary, let me give you a small lecture. Primary exists for numeracy and literacy. That is the purpose of primary. Don't make it anything else. Because you're building a base. People must be numerate and literate. Secondary exists for problem solving. You're upping the game. Problem solving. Then our HSC links you between problem solving and knowledge. Technical institutions exist for competence. Bottom line.
Okay.
So you can judge the system. But for the youth, I think, Mr. Kamara, when they were speaking, I started thinking of something. The mortality rate of startups in this country is the highest in the world. The death of startups is the highest. 80% of our startups die. And who are the people starting up? They are the youth. Who are the people who create jobs? Madivan in Kakira will not create you a job. He's already at his highest. It is a startup that creates you a job. And I've been thinking, I do not advise this government to control capital at all. Let capital come in and flow. But I think we need to do it the way Kenya has done it a little bit. In Kenya, there is a specified amount of a contract that must go to a youth. If it is in contracting, there is a percentage. Us civil servants must implement. When you go to South Sudan, which is a new country, you can't start a business unless you have a local investor. Meaning that you are beginning to share capital.
that somebody can come with capital. I'm a youth, I don't have capital. I can work with that somebody and begin to earn from the other person's capital because I am Ugandan. So I think we need, the way we register companies in this country now, without tampering with the capital flight, we should be allowing Ugandans to participate in registering companies of people who are coming in with a certain percentage.
Okay, a round of applause to the panelists. And probably we have had the panelists speak. Some of them were pointing to issues of policy. We have our minister, the Honorable Minister here. I think it is fair that maybe she responds, even though she hasn't put her hand, because I didn't ask for people to raise their hands. I think it's in order that she responds, and then I also get questions or submissions from the audience. And the idea is that you put up your hand, and then Mala will bring a microphone to you, and please be precise and concise. Honorable Minister, you have listened to all this. If you could briefly respond, and then you'll get some questions from the audience.
I need to thank you, quite frankly. You've been such a good moderator for the morning. And can you please give a round of applause to our panelists? Thank you very much. Grace is looking at me, but I think you really have my support. You caught onto my heart when you really talked about the mindset change. For me, briefly, I had a humble background. Very humble indeed. I came from the southern part of the country, and by that time it was one of the marginalized areas. I could probably have missed seeing the writings on the wall, because where I came from there was not a single tarmac road, no power, nothing. But in that very home we have over 5 PhDs in one family, so, and not of this regime at all. So I grew up without a single chance of seeing a mayor of the region. We could probably be told that that is the mayor's garden. Once in a while, the mayor appears like a king of sorts and then gives a Christmas or something. But these days is where you undress the mayor, pull down the belts and do all that you need to do with the leaders. So it is a whole barrel of worms. There is a lot that needs to change if we talk about mindset change. To me, the time when we didn't have money, that was the barter trade, is when we were doing actually equally well. So that means that money is good and bad. Yes, it can be there, but it's not the ultimate reason why we must bond together and look at the future as a meaningful one. She talked about the mindset change, which is the pinnacle. It is what forms the basis of where we want the youth to be in the next generations. We need to groom a body that does not believe that much that, government is tuyambi. We need the government to come up. Everybody is sitting. I address gatherings day in, day out, but they are simply stuck. They are saying that until you come down, Florence, can you bring the president? Can you do this? Can you tell the mayor to come? Can you tell, can all of you come from the ministries and come and address us? Okay, you have given us all this. You have given us the material. You have given us the lectures. You have taught us. You have taken us to schools. But even then, can you tell the prime minister to come and address us? So it is, wishing every other day. The policies have been made and done. Uganda is one of the countries in Africa that have the highest number of policies, even in terms of quality. They come here, benchmark, look at the policies, and go and implement them. The problem is implementation. For example, on Tuesday alone, I decided to allocate my Tuesday to the women, the single mothers of this country. But how many women, for example, after the affirmative action, all these women coming up, youth leaders, women, members of parliament, everybody's a leader if you're a woman. But how many women allocate a day in a week to the work of the women? and say that for me, I'm a woman, I was elected so because of my gender, but let me give just one day in a week and keep my door open for all women who are, carrying a blog to come and I become their shoulders to lean on. How many people do that? We are looking at the youth, 481 elected youth leaders in the country. We would not be having that much of a problem. They would be sharing with others. They would be alleviating some of the synergies. What we are looking at here would be done a little bit by the people who earn salaries and they are in offices and are cruising these four-wheel drives to be able to offer services to their fellow countrymen. So the problem is sometimes masquerading and looking at the white race and always saying Egypt, like Maggie said, that, oh, this country is good, but we have it all. So implementation is the problem. On Tuesday, for example, I realized that not even parents know that it is already a legal relationship that you share with a child. The moment you get drunk in front of a kid, that is illegal. The moment you undress, that can earn you an imprisonment of sorts. The moment you don't take that child to school, so to them it's giving birth, nothing more. You count and count until you can count no more. So I think we need to know that much as we can read and write, let us read the law. And if you're being elected as such, then come and offer service. Don't just say, I'm waiting for that councillor to die, and then I can campaign for councillorship. Leadership is all that we have in Uganda. Everybody must be a leader, councillor, MP, mention it. That cannot work out. We need to be farmers. We need to be interpreters, like my person here said, youth. We need to be, everything is important, so long as you believe and you say that as an interpreter, I'll get onto the mountain. I'll be the Chuck Norris of this world, but not leadership. So to me, I thank the people who brought it out, that capital, the biblical meaning of capital, is the brain. Capital is the brain. So if you tell me you don't have capital, then you don't have the brains. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, before you leave the stage, I can imagine maybe the young people listening to you or watching you on TV are wondering, they have come to you crying to you because they want maybe to meet the Prime Minister and sometimes even to meet the President. And indeed you have delivered the President to the slums, but he has even come with the bags and bags of money. How does that solve the issues of the young people?
Thank you. Thank you very much. As I earlier mentioned, that we have watched all this happen. And all of us here, even us in this room, are partly to blame, even the people out. You look at the countryside, when the honorable members of parliament, everybody is giving out money, in the churches, at the villages, so to speak, that the mere lecturing to people becomes irrelevant. The president tried it. You appear before people, you appear in a church and fundraising, all sorts. Then you become irrelevant. So the youth tell you, Florence, unless you do this, so garbage in, garbage out. We need to know what is our role in coming up with a situation the way it stands. Because he brought up all these lectures and all these sermons and everything. We wrote books. We came up with the guidelines, but it was not the fashion. It was not the order of the day. So he came up with his own program, because that is State House program. So the Ministry of Gender, which I lead as the youth leader, also has a different program of empowerment. Then you look at training, then the youth take money and they say, okay, you will not look for us anymore, because after 4,080 days, then you're not a youth. So how do I track you now to say, now you're a big person, Maggie, come back, you took money when you are still a young person. So there are still challenges, right? But what was your role in having this as a problem? I thank you.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause. Okay, just in case you have a question to the minister, you can raise, because I know she could be having other engagements she's going to attend to, so it is important. But please, you have less than a minute. Just have one question. Tell us where you're from. Be precise and concise. Should you have something that is different or divergent, the most important thing is to disagree respectfully.
Thank you so much. Minister, I'm Cor Daniel. I am from Aleptong district. I am living my dream because I travel all the way to ask you this question. Moments back, you seem to say that we create relevance by giving out money, because you said the president goes, just lectures and there is no relevance. So to bring relevance is giving out money. What is the future of Uganda's politics if we are making everything about the money? I want to come to parliament in 2021. I don't have the money, but you're telling me as a member of parliament you should give the money. So doesn't that mean that the Omuntu Awansi in a leptong there, we will not come to parliament because we don't have the money? What message are you sending to us? Don't you think
you have made your point, sir?
Thank
from
you very
a
much.
One of the things that we need to look at is that we should not focus so much on politics, but so much at the energies that we have, the creativity that we need, the innovation that we require, the ingenuity within us. Because if we look at somebody, perhaps that is not going to help. So we need to make this auditorium come up with ideas that can help, as opposed to pointing fingers of blame, because that is going to take us back. Though I do not mean that if you have an issue about leadership and politics, you shouldn't raise it. I'm only giving some caution. So please, well, the lady here in...
Can I?
Please,
because I do not have a notebook, so I need to answer one by one,
okay,
right?
Okay.
Okay, very briefly though. I thank you and I wish you success in your endeavor. I need to tell you this, that you need to observe clearly how the genesis of, you look at the genesis of events. In areas where the president has gone, he moves around. Even at night, he drives alone and he moves around, even during the day. And he notices, for example, and talks to some of the people and finds out what are their particular problems. But still, somewhere along the road, he realizes that people are operating, for example, there is no shelter, they need machines, they need this. And in Parliament, we approve money for him, just a little bit of money, for him to do that particular job. But what I need to question you about, for example, if you're to lead and you have this aspiration of becoming a member of Parliament, national leadership is far, far higher. You need to be relevant within your own household. I need to know you. People in Kampala should know someone from Leptong if you're to go to a level of becoming a national leader. So we are having some of the leaders who drive the economy, who drive the agenda. That is what I meant by saying that the politics of the land is blanketing the entire economy, such that whatever you do in good faith is more or less sometimes taken as if you're really politicking. So that's where we need to have a clear line. By the time I got a minister, the first time I was in Buganda Kingdom, you saw in the papers that I was highlighted as one of the wealthiest people at that age. So to me, it had nothing to do with the government. That's why when I stand here to address you, I'm so confident, because with or without it, I know I have made a name beyond my village. That is what it means to be a leader.
Okay, please just don't load all the questions. The Honourable Minister should be leaving shortly. We have all the panelists here who have taken time to research and speak to us. Put the question to them. May I suggest, Honourable Minister, perhaps that you take your seat again, so that if they come 2 or 3 questions, you respond to them. Or you want to stay there? And because
let me answer quickly, because cabinet is just sitting since morning.
All right. There's a lady here in black. Before that, it goes for the panel. Okay. If you have, we're going to take 2 or 3 more questions to the minister before she leaves. And then the other questions will be to the panel.
Thank you so much, moderator. Protocol observed. My name is Elvis Nwabeine, Guru Minister for Academics and Professional Affairs, Chambogo University. I appreciate the government for the job well done, especially through the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, when they brought the Uganda Youth Volunteer Scheme. But I think the problem here is the missing link between the graduates, the fresh graduates, and the government. I would wish the government starts up mind hubs to show the fresh graduates direction after campus, because sometimes the campus may not train the university graduate to be a creator of employment. So the government, let it have something to start up to show the direction of the youth after campus. Thank you.
Thank you very much. He's talking about, dear moderator, he's talking about the newly launched program under the ministry, the gender ministry. And this is about assisting people, assisting companies to recruit more. As we pay with UNDP, we pay for their salaries. We have just taken on 100 people, and in January we are taking on another 400 people. So we help companies like Total, Makerere University, the top notch, to be able to take on, to recruit more beyond their budgets, so that we can pay for their salaries, as one of the efforts to alleviate unemployment in Uganda. So yes, you just log on. I have the website for those who like it. And in January, we are taking on 400 more people. So we're sponsored to ensure that we alleviate unemployment. But it's about people who completed 4 years back. It's not really for the fresh graduates. Those have a different program within the ministry, I think.
There's also something called retooling. I don't understand.
Absolutely.
What is the
now,
retooling?
That is the green incubation model. We buy tools. We buy tools and give them out quarterly, spread through the 8 regions in Uganda. So we look at the toolkits that assist in entrepreneurial areas, like car washing machines. We look at carpentry kits, we look at sewing kits, and then we give them out free of charge to those who have been skilled, especially those who are coming out of institutions.
Okay, only 2 more to our guest of honors. Then we can now engage the panel. At the back, yes.
Thank you so much. My name is Ategeka Frank, and I lead the Rural Aid Foundation in Kiwale District. I have 2 issues to say. One is about the link between theory and practical in our education system. I know of very many youth who have graduated with first-class degrees and they have no jobs. And this is attributed to the fact that the education system that we have in Uganda today is quite different from what the presenters on the panel have been talking about. First, we have more people who can recite theory and do less practical. And this is what we've been trained in the universities. And this is something that the government has to rethink if we are talking about issues of ending unemployment. Then 2, the Executive Director, Private Sector Foundation, talked about the issue of startups dying, or the mortality rate, if I'm not mistaken, if it's the one. Someone talked about it. And this is not only in people who are starting small businesses, but also the young organizations that are starting up to help people, particularly in the rural communities, and even those that are started by youth. And this is attributed to the so-called lack of links or something related to that. Then, lastly, I want to talk about the issue of youth employment. Recently, I'm honored to speak in front of the minister here. We've launched the volunteer scheme for the youth. But why can't the government think about startup businesses or sponsoring startup businesses for fresh graduates, and then link them to the government, to the universities? By the time someone graduates, they are somewhere, maybe on a startup point. I'll give an example of Yale University. They have a program that is coding to solve a problem. And here students in computer engineering or IT related courses come together, sit, and then they do coding or they write programs that solve real life problems. And these programs don't end here. They are promoted by government, and at the end of the day, these programs come together and they create employment opportunities for very many youth. Why can't we have a scheme like this in Uganda?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And for the 3 questions, my colleagues will answer some of them. But precisely to talk about the education that we have in Uganda, just like Dr. Maggie said, there could be something wrong, but all is not lost. I can assure you that so many people are successful, and even those that are not so highly educated are doing very well, pretty well. It is all about your mindset change. Today, I am the chairperson of all youth ministers in the Commonwealth, and the first one to hold that position in the history. So it's not that I was with them at all. So someone else could have had that position anyway. I'm the vice president of the Federation of Football, but I'm not even a football person. For the first time, they have got the highest income in a year in the history of FUFA. So it is not about pointing fingers or looking at gaps. Nothing, far from that. Change your mindset. And even when you're with no supervision, in your grass-touched heart, you can make a difference for so many people to lift their shoulders on. So he talked about the program of the fresh graduates. Thank you. That is very good. You cannot look at one program to solve many problems. You need to look at a whole range of programs that we have, hundreds and hundreds of programs. For example, the graduates that you're talking about are under a different program. That is Capital Venture Fund, where people say they just need, they have learned, they have got the knowledge, and they need rent, they need something like that. So there are so many. You cannot look at one and then you say, how come it left out this and that? You look at a religious person and say, why didn't you give birth? If you look at parents, you go to those who are married, and that's a different package altogether. So let us look at the government as 100% of things. If you look at this one, look at it in that window. And then if you need something else, there will be another program particularly addressing that problem.
Thank you very much. A round of applause to the Honorable Minister. I'm sure now she's got to leave, but she'll leave at will. And so now we are going to take 5 or 7, a total of 7 questions. And this time, if you get an opportunity, do not give me more than one question. You know, 1A, then 1B. No, please, one question. You know, my friend from Kibale there was very tricky, but the questions were good, so I couldn't stop him. So please, just speak the best that you have, and then tell us what you are going to ask. Be precise and concise. It will be an issue of time. It's not that I don't want all of you to speak. If I don't give you an opportunity, just a matter of time. Yes, Mala, you have a person there.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Evelyn Zalwango. I'm a carpenter.
A carpenter?
Yes.
Okay.
Today has been a topic I'm very, very much excited. I'm very, very much excited about the topics today because everybody has touched to my heart in everything I do about skilling. And what everyone has said has been an amazing thing to hear, because when we are in our works, we kind of tend to think we are alone. For me, one thing I would like everybody to understand in this kind of a field where we are, where we're saying everybody, the youth unemployed, there's no jobs and everything else. The way the minister said it, the biggest problem is mindset. That is one. And then 2, it comes to the parents. I myself, I employ over 40 people. And on top of that, I support over 350 landmine victims in Kasese. But the biggest problem we face, like everybody was saying, the people that come to us to get the jobs that we want, they have no idea what they're doing. That's the biggest challenge. And how do we address that challenge for the carpenters we receive, for the mechanics that we receive? But then everybody has a role to play in this. As Eve, I'm not going to stand and say government is doing wrong, somebody's doing wrong. It has to start with us, those that have the role to play, and how do we play it. I have a program that I'm running that trains kids on how to use their hands, financial management, and then art therapy. That starts from 7 years, girls and boys, up to 15 years. So it has to be a point where everybody has a role to play as the young people, and you do not have to keep telling everybody you're blaming somebody or anything like that. And I would like to support the ED for planning. Please tell government not to build any more institutions, any technical schools. We do not need those. We as carpenters or companies that are actually running businesses, we can actually teach those people on how to be. 50% of my employees are trained on job in my job. So bring that money to us, we will use it to train those people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. What's your name again?
Eve Zalwang.
Eve Zalwang. I mean, another round of applause. We have a carpenter in the house, and she's a lady, you know. Please, thank you very much. And she's supporting other young people in her district.
Yes, good morning. My name is Angela Mirembe, founder of Coding in Heels, inspiring girls to take on technology. I really appreciate the panel and everything they've said, but if we all agree that Uganda has a mindset problem, how are we trying to solve that? For example, I learned recently that one of Uganda's goals for 2040 is to be a middle-income society. And to be honest, I was wondering, with everything that's going around, how are we planning?
In fact, they say 2020.
And then I also heard that by June next year, we're going to be a smart city, which also went over my head, and I was like, how are we going to do that? My question is, does the nation as a whole sit down and know the goals that we have, so everyone knows what position they can take and what area. Because if we're going to be a smart city in June, what's my role in teaching technology? What's the fisherman's role? So as a nation, I thank you, Maggie, but social media, I think, is something that helps us youth. For example, when you say Uganda is beautiful, I only recently, God forbid, I only really look at my country and I was like, oh my God, now I know why we're called the Pearl of Africa. Yes, we have so many opportunities, but with all the soaps and the music videos on TV, why don't we bring in media to somehow have these discussions and say, fine, if this is our goal in 2040, this is what the 2% the government is going to represent in doing. This is what the young people need to do, because the truth is, the young people feel like they're helpless.
We need a coordinated effort.
Yeah, we feel like we're so irrelevant. I mean, sometimes we have these conferences where they're invited and they'll be like, oh, we can't attend, we're not available. They'll show up 5 hours late, so we feel irrelevant.
All right. Thank you very much. The good thing is that the two submissions are not actually questions, trying to enrich the discussion. So, which is a good thing, that you think you have ideas in there. And I suppose the organizers want to hear the ideas from the young people. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Kisubika Joshua Mayanja. A few days on 18th, that is last month, we traveled with a team to Rwanda to represent Uganda for the World Skills Competition, the first on the African continent. And when we came back, we discussed about these things, the PTVET, and how they can really drive the socio-economic transformation. But the challenges we face, the youth, all these people who acquire the technical skills, they don't have these entrepreneurship skills. They don't have the soft skills. And I'll agree with Mr. Mubawala. How best can we integrate the technical skills with these soft skills? We need to work on the processes and the systems. Teach the technical skills, but in relation with the soft skills, the teamwork, the critical thinking. I've been trying to move around churches, communities, and villages, trying to spread the gospel of this TVET and soft skills, and telling the youth that these skills can change lives. These skills can lead to sustainable development goals. But my question is, how are we, the youth, going to work together with such organizations like the UN or the media to scale up this and change the mindset of our young people to love the technical skills?
Okay, you have put up a question to fellow young people. I would want somebody to respond to him, because he put the question to the audience. How are you ready to work with the government, with the people like these?
Maybe just to end up, I'm happy to inform you that Uganda got 2 silver medals and 1 silver bronze from Rwanda.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Uganda. Okay. Also, if you have a question to the panelists, please. But it looks like you're enriching their submission, which is a good thing. We have a lady right here.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm called Wokulida John.
Mala, next time we just... okay. Because I was pointing to somebody, but it's okay. You can continue.
I'm called Wokulida John. I work with Chuka Youth Outreach. I'm the coordinator of that organization. Work with young people. Work with Reach a Hand Uganda, UNFPA. My question would go, it's like a suggestion. We young people who talk for those people who are in ghetto, those dropouts, because I've been listening to all of the people talking about everything, we leave that category of people down. They are young people, they are school dropouts. They never wanted to drop out from school. Some. The problem was school fees or those funds for education. Me, I was thinking, decision making in this case is the key, because if we invest better in what we do, because there are some small businesses down there which can upkeep them and they become men in the future. So for me, I suggest that before attacking the government doing all they are doing, we should at least go back down and we do these dialogues from those people. They can at least pick something and they invest better because we have that money down here.
Thank you very much. A dialogue at the village level, at a community level is as good also. So that's what he's suggesting. The lady right here. There are two actually. Please be precise and concise so that we can have, and I'm going to get after two more presentations or submissions. I'm getting back to the panel.
Thank you very much. Thank you, the moderator, together with all the panelists, all protocols observed. My name is Dr. Stella Kivila. I'm a pharmacist by training, but I spend most of my days training the next generation of leaders. I will have a submission based on what we're talking about today, socioeconomic change. Are the youth involved in a socioeconomic change? Now, we have to look at the environment of creating that socioeconomic change. So Dr. Mvawala had talked about dividends, demographic dividends, but I will add on to the private sector where I am. I'm in healthcare, but in the private sector. So what I have realized is that we are in a VUCA environment. The environment is swiftly changing, and the problems are ever changing every single day, but teams to be able to deal with those same environments. Everybody has been talking about the whole segment of empowering the young generation in terms of mindset. This is my proposal. Why don't we attack the policy side from the value chain? So if somebody is in primary school, are they being taught these entrepreneurial skills to be able to solve the current and the ever-evolving problems that actually come from the VUCA environment? And therefore, what happens, we have a very big burden in the private sector. When we onboard the youth, we have to spend 50% of our time to be able to get the return on investment. So at the end of the day, what I do as well in my free time, I mentor young girls to be able to develop on areas of the soft skills. However, the question is, all of us have a part because all of us have a responsibility. Responsibility means being responsible. Don't be a problem identifier, be a problem solver, exactly, and that's what we write on CVs. So for instance, if primary school goers can be able to be equipped on solving problems, we come to high school, solve problems, we come to tertiary institutions, solve problems. By the time you're onboarding people into the private sector, which is actually the biggest employers in this nation, then we have actually reduced the burden significantly. Therefore, let's all be responsible in all our spheres of influence. My question to the panelists is, what does gender have to do with it? So we talked about empowering the girl child. What about the boy child?
Thank you, Doctor. There's another, this lady next.
Thank you, moderator. Good morning, everyone, if it's not good morning. My name is Namfka Annette. I work with Curriculum Development Center, and there's so much that has been spoken about education and the curriculum. One, I would like to agree with Ian, that is the first panelist. There are so many things that are in the curriculum that are maybe not relevant for the people and the youth today. However, we have to appreciate the fact that by the time the curriculum was developed, it was addressing the needs of the people at that time, and it was useful. That is why you find that we have people like the other generation panelists, including me. We also have to understand that currently, in the education system, there is a lot that is going on. There is a curriculum review. However, it needs to be timely and fast at implementation. But you know, systems and processes are always prone to challenges. Sometimes we are not funded in time to complete the systems. They also talked about the issues of competency building. Yes, the technical schools are in place, and curriculum for those institutions has been developed. However, we still need to change the mindset of the people. People feel, and including us, some of us who are here, that it is for failures. Something has to change. We need to start the change with us. Then another challenge that maybe we could have is that we are putting everything to the curriculum. Not everything. There is what we call a written and implemented curriculum. But then we also have the hidden curriculum, the experiences that we go through in school. The things like when we talk about the clubs, the games, some of those things are not directly taught in class. Even when we talk about when we're talking about soft skills, some of these soft skills are developed within the other things that we engage in school. For instance, the debates. However, the challenge that we have, especially with our generation, most of us are grade driven. When you go to a school and you find such things like games, clubs, debates, you find most people find it as something that is wasting time. Nobody is going to teach you teamwork, but any person who is who gets involved in sports, more so football, these group games, they learn that. Timekeeping, communication, all these things are not going to come out of the education system.
Thank you.
And finally,
you're making a whole presentation.
The duplications that somebody mentioned, I think have been addressed. But as I've told you, that systems are prone to challenges and there are delays. I am an old girl of Trinity College Nabingo, and I think even the minister here is also, so because all of us talked about our schools. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, at least she has told us that the curriculum is under review, right? So maybe let us wait what is going to come out, because it appears many people are raising concerns about the curriculum that you have. So it's undergoing some kind of review. Perhaps maybe in the next couple of years we'll have a different curriculum. I can only, oh yes, the other side, I can only take two more, because in the interest of time, two more. Yes, at the very end, Mala, there's a lady in pink.
Hi everyone, I'm Jamila Mayanja. I'm the founder of Smart Girls Foundation Uganda. I just have very short questions. One to Dr. Joseph. I train girls in mechanics, girls out of school, to try and get girls who are from slum areas. The problem I've gotten is the soft skilling that you've talked about. And one of them is teaching them English so that they can market themselves throughout the mechanics they've achieved. When I've tried to sign them up in some of the schools, they actually deny them because they're already young mothers. What advice would you give the government, or what plan do you have to try and get young mothers, teenage mothers, back in?
Ugandans make the smart choice. Why choose this powder? It cleans just like any other ordinary detergent. Ariel gives you better stain removal in one wash, even with less powder. It can't be. Observe grass, tea, and chocolate drink. I'll need 1, 2 handfuls, and just 1 handful of Ariel. See, better stain removal with only 1 wash. It's the smart choice for sure. Ariel removes tough stains in 1 wash.
What do you want your baby to become?
Every parent desires to have a healthy and successful child. Therefore, it is important to prevent the diseases that may affect your baby's life. Pneumonia and diarrhea are among the diseases that kill children under 5 years. So, every parent must know how to prevent and manage the disease. Pneumonia usually starts with a cough, which later turns into fast.
Introducing Kiri Soda in 4 different flavors: lemon, mixed berry, orange, and Kiri Cola. Celebrate life with Kiri Soda.
Let's celebrate life!
Spark TV Mega Festival ngalumu January come mbele come na mwenda. Tivulu chabe chisoke ndala. Uganda Museum. Jambo la mulebi ya faye biri mu Uganda Museum. Spark TV yeriko. Abayimbi ba Uganda bonabocha. Abanene abaliko. Abamutawana. Nibo comedians bakusese paka nkera. Ola mulebi ya faye biri mu Uganda Museum. Itali kabisa na paka chiro. Jambo la bigembi ya faye ya Spark TV. okubera mu kivulu ky'abekisonkedderera mu Uganda. Uganda Museum nga lumu January 2019 ebyokusanyusa by'abaana bya bwerere oginga mutwalo gumu VIP emitwalo ebiri binaabiranga byongiddwa Getting Uganda Rules for Mattresses Sema Properties n'ebitegekebwa Saabalanzi Bajo Events ne Habitats Promotions.
Sheila Gashumba presents the Ballers Party, the official Kampala Spenders Assembly on the 18th of December at Governor, Kampala. You ain't seen nothing yet. Photos, models, boss ladies and cash kings with special performances from King Saha, Shiba, and all the way from Tanzania, Navi Kenzo. Hosted by Sheila Gashumba. Alibad tickets go for 50,000 shillings and 100,000 shillings after midnight. For reservations, call 0750-687-914. Powered by NTV, Africell, Radio City, Matoke Republic, Nakuru Skies Hotel.
Even on those nights I sleep worry-free with Always Ultra. It has a soft, light cotton top layer and absorbs up to 3 times more. No stain, no check for 2 hours. Good night, sweet. Good morning, energy. Good times with my family. Good morning, energy. Good morning, energy. I stay fresh and lively with Always Ultra. Stay happy always.
Sleeping in wet pants? Sleeping in new Pampers pants. New Pampers pants are Uganda's first pants with 1, 2, 3 channels that absorb wetness 3 times faster and does not allow wetness to collect in one place so your baby gets better sleep. Now available in size 6. New Pampers pants, love, sleep and play.
Spark TV presents the Spark TV Mega Festival. On the 1st of January 2019 at the Uganda Museum. Come get a feel of the best 10 performances by Uganda's heavyweight musicians and rib-cracking comedians. Plus, kids games, face painting, giveaways, and a special Spark TV tour of the Uganda Museum. Spark TV gets open early for only 10K and 20K VIP. The Spark TV Mega Festival, sponsored by Darling Uganda, Rose Farm Mattresses, Sema Properties, organized by Bajo Events and Habitats Promotions.
Even on those nights I sleep worry-free with Always Ultra. It has a soft, light cotton top layer and absorbs up to 3 times more. No stain, no check for 2 hours. Good night, sweet. Good morning, energy. Good times with my family. Good morning, energy. Good morning, energy. I stay fresh and lively with Always Ultra. Stay happy always.
Sleeping in wet pants? Sleeping in new Pampers pants. New Pampers pants are Uganda's first pants with 1, 2, 3 channels that absorb wetness 3 times faster and does not allow wetness to collect in one place so your baby gets better sleep. Now available in size 6. New Pampers pants, love, sleep and play.
Mujewali, I'm helping Ugandans make the smart choice. Why choose this powder? It cleans just like any other ordinary detergent. Ariel gives you better stain removal in one wash, even with less powder. It can't be. Observe grass, tea, and chocolate drink. I'll need 1, 2 handfuls, and just 1 handful of Ariel. See, better stain removal with only 1 wash. It's the smart choice for sure. Ariel removes tough stains in 1 wash.
Creative industry here and see how artists have turned their talents into successful businesses. Wedding culture in Tanzania is a unique process with series of large ceremonies before even getting to the big day. I'm going to find out what it takes to say I do to big bucks.
I'm in Kasubi Market, Uganda, and at this time of the year, business is as crunchy as these grasshoppers. I'm here to talk to traders and find out how they can keep earning in a more sustainable and innovative way. In Masaka region in central Uganda, Paul Kasozi has mastered the art of trapping grasshoppers. It's a lucrative business, one that he engages in between May to June and November to December, the only 2 seasons which grasshoppers, or what is locally known as insemene, appear in a year. So I'm here at the center of one of the trapping sites for grasshoppers here in Masaka in Uganda, and Paul has been setting up since 6 p.m. and it's quite a lucrative, even though seasonal business, and in just a few minutes the lights will be on and Paul will be making some money. The lights here are very bright and can be harmful to the human eye. That means we have to wear protective gear as we have this conversation. So, Paul, tell me how these traps work.
These iron sheets and the drums help to trap the grasshoppers. So we put on the strong lights to attract them. And as they move around the light, they get tired and try to support themselves on the iron sheets and then slide into the drums.
And from what you're seeing in the sky tonight, how much do you expect to harvest?
From what I'm seeing right now, I expect to get between 5 to 8 sacks.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll leave you now to continue trapping these grasshoppers. I'll chat with you in the morning. Thank you. How's your night?
Good.
Okay, so this is all the produce that we got?
Yes.
Why so little?
It's little because the number of people harvesting grasshoppers in this area has increased, so there's competition. Also, when the moon is full in this area,